Look at this whole business about Sonny Bill Williams. He's a superstar. He is sort of, well, he's the modern Jonah. He's the guy that everybody talks about all the time. But what is it that makes him tick? Kath, what do you think of him?
He has got the best body I have ever seen in my life, and a lot of men say that as well. And from a sporting perspective, Murray, for him to achieve what he has in rugby league, to move into rugby union and to do what he does in the boxing ring makes him an incredible athlete. And I personally will be tuning into the Crusaders just to see what the big SBW does.
You might have to wait for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well,
that's the one thing that concerns me about it. I mean, there is no doubt that body, fantastic. Athletic ability, superb. But at what cost? How self-indulgent is this guy?
There he is compared with Jonah.
Who's been given an opportunity.
You prefer him to Jonah?
Well,
Kath?
Jonah's got his arms across. It's a bit hard to tell, but yeah, from that picture, most definitely.
Is it the tat that does it for you, Kath, or what?
The only thing against him is the way that he left the Bulldogs, though. He sort of just...
Well, we'll come to that in just a second. You're saying how lovely he is. What's your take on him?
I think he's a guy that... a lot of promise, you know, he was sold upon us, and he's delivered. He's got the package. He's not only this marketing toy, he actually shown that he can play. That's what I've loved about it. I was getting ready to put the boot in when I was actually in a situation there where I was going to pass my judgment on Sonny Bill when he came on. I couldn't. All I could think is, this fella is actually the real deal. He can play, and that's great.
Well, I've got to tell you, I wasn't more than putting the boot in. I thought, I'm going to absolutely ruin this guy before much longer. And I was set and I was ready and I had my focus on him. And I'll tell you what, I've grown to really like him. I think he is... I hated what he did to the Bulldogs. I hated the fact that he pulled out of the Kiwis. I hated all of that. But I ran and I love the way he plays the game. I get terrific thrill out of watching him play. And on top of it all, a couple of people that I've got a lot of regard for, Steve Price being one of them, saying to me, Murray, ease off this joker. He's a good kid. He may have some dickheads around him, was the comment that I had.
Eventually, he's going to have to take responsibility for his own actions. He can't keep blaming Mundine or Coda Nassa or anyone else around him. And I will still say again that I judge him recently on the way that he's not fit to play for the Crusaders. He indulges himself. Just because it's in his contract doesn't mean
But you indulge yourself. You've indulged yourself ever since you've been here.
And I expect to get maligned for doing so, Murray. And that's what I'm doing. If he's serious about playing for the All Blacks at the World Cup, do everything you can do.
I love him boxing. I'll tell you why I love him boxing. I love him boxing because I know, and Kath will know this, when you have the sport that is your main sport, him it's rugby, me cricket, Kath netball, stresses you. It's stressful and it's tiring. If you can step outside that and completely get yourself absorbed in another pursuit, it frees those stresses and it freshens you up. And I like seeing him boxing.
Rugby. He's not playing the bleeding thing because he's not fit.
It's still going to stress him. I mean, that's his bread and butter.
He has high expectations of him. And you've got to remember, he's under Mundine's wing. And Anthony Mundine is well known in a lot of places because of the fact that he plays the PR game. Behind the scenes, Mundine is actually a quiet sort of a fellow. I couldn't believe it when I first met him. I could not believe the Anthony Mundine I was in a room with was the Anthony Mundine that you see on the screen. Totally different people. And I think Sonny Bill Williams is trying to learn that role, create an image, create, you know, a brand for himself. And so far, it's working to some degree, although learning some lessons with the Bulldogs affair.
It's unfair, I think, to judge him on what happened with the Bulldogs because he only really had the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs didn't have a great track record of being a wonderful culture at that time either, did they? Now he stepped in the All Blacks, fantastic culture. We'll see the guy grow as an individual as well.
Do you think he'll leave as soon as the World Cup is over?
So what?
Or hang on. Or do you think the Adidas contract, which he's just got, which I would imagine would be a really big one, will that be enough to hold him? Because is this, and this is the question I want to ask you in particular, Kath, is this guy the epitome of the modern-day athlete?
Yeah, he's an Adonis. He's amazing. And I don't...
So he'll go anywhere for money is the point I'm making.
I think he will... Well, no. He will make money wherever he goes. So, therefore, I think his choice will be what he wants to do.
And that's where Miles and I have got a problem with him, isn't it?
It is. I'm old school, and I respect his right to make those decisions, but also respect my right to be able to judge him on that. And he's a fantastic athlete, and I was one that actually supported him playing rugby. I didn't doubt him for 1 minute that he was going to do the job. But if I was a Crusaders fan, which, thank Lord, I'm not, what would I be thinking? That the guy's more important and worried about going out boxing rather than getting fit and focusing and saying, do you know something? I'll give up one fight against a bum just to show that I've got a dedication to this cause. And he hasn't got it.
Anything you want to add?
No, the guy's a product.
Yep.
He's got the right to sell his product to anywhere he wants to sell it. And if he does a good job for us at the World Cup and helps us win that World Cup,
It's an interesting split here because, and I'd have to say, age might have a wee bit to do with that.
It might well.
You know, I don't often concede this, and neither do you, but we just might have to here for a moment. I think we'll move on very quickly. But in the next segment, what we're going to look at, sports people, the way they lead their life, the personalities of them. We're going to get right into that. But first up, we've got our tips again, and here's Reece Bishop with his latest golf tip in association with diners.
78% of people slice, and the main reason for that is they're using far too much body in the downswing. All the books talk about going up to the top of the backswing and using lower body and hips and everything to drive as much as they can on the way through. Unfortunately, everybody does it too much and ends up slicing it out towards the right-hand side. You go to the top of your backswing and actually hold your body still so that your arms have got time to actually catch up. #1 player in the world, Tiger Woods, does it this way. You should give it a go as well. Keep the body still and the club will come back to straight. Let me demonstrate. Up to the top, hold the body and swing. You'll hit straight shots every time.
Deaker on Sport is brought to you by TUI and Rebel Sport.
Tonight we're looking at the issues of the summer, the things that cropped up, and one thing that crops up all the time, well, what our expectations are of sports stars, of sports personalities, that whole thing about, and I wince as I think about the people that ring me up and say, well, they're role models. And, you know, I'm going to have my sixpence worth first. They're not role models, they're only role models the way they play the game. What they do off the track, I hate to think, and I certainly would not want to think that they are. Well, what do you think?
I'm a bit like you. I don't consider them to be role models. I consider them to be people who can influence, and they can choose to take that seriously and try to influence people for the better. I think just be whoever they are. I don't have a... Like Jesse Ryder. I used to poo-poo what Jesse Ryder used to get up to now. I know, I like Jesse. I find him entertaining. And right now, cricket could do with entertainers who bring viewers to the screens above and beyond what they're doing performance-wise. So, you know, I quite like that. And look at Shane Warne. You know, he is such a rogue and a scoundrel. He gets away with it because he's Warney. They love him.
Well, let's deal with Jesse first and deal with the tweet, and then we'll come to Kath's best friend. Now, here was the tweet that Jesse came out with. I just got to run out by my other batter. What a waste of time this day is. I love getting left high and dry by my opening batter.
I think
we are an opening batter.
I just think this was more frustration, the fact that he'd been rotated out of the team. He didn't want that, and he got run out. As for Jesse Ryder's running, I think Jesse needs to look at himself a bit more than he does, actually, because he gets run out a lot.
Did you see the tweet after when he was back in the Black Caps, the next game, when he got run out first ball without facing the ball?
And what was the tweet?
The tweet was, what a waste of a day, ran myself out, I could have been playing for Wellington.
Did he put that up?
No, I just made that up.
I was going to say, this is not the Jesse Ryder I know, and suddenly that was...
The only problem I had with that was the other batter. The guy's name's Stephen Murdoch, and like, if you're really and it's just a thing of frustration, surely, and you're part of that Wellington team, you use the guy's name.
Maybe he didn't know who it was.
Well,
hang on, he did though, because the guy had opened with him on a number of occasions.
Maybe that was his way.
He was our placemaker player of the week.
Maybe that was Jesse's way of not sort of putting the boot into his mate by not naming him.
Well, why would you?
It's a team sport.
I'm standing up for Jesse like everyone else does.
Because you're in love with him, you just admitted it.
Why would you ever let Jesse tweet? If you were Aaron Clear's manager, the first thing you would do with his phone is, Jesse, give it to me.
Now, what is wrong with actually trying to create characters within the game? Some are good characters, some are bad characters, some are funny, some are serious.
You shouldn't have to create them, and I think that's the difference between Shane Warne and Tiger Woods.
They create themselves, though.
Tiger Woods puts himself out there as the I'm the clean thing, all this money, and then gets petulant when he gets caught out for it. Shane Warne has always been Shane Warne. He's a fool, a buffoon, but you don't mind about it because he's never pretended to be anything else.
What do you say about Kath? You've been hot on this guy.
This is where he was such a legend of the game, which gives him a little bit of scope to move. And he has created a brand and is known as Warnie, you know, the chain smoking, the big eating, the baked beans eating larrikin. And he lives a life that a lot of men...
There's his girlfriend.
He lives a life that a lot of men, like my husband, cannot believe what Warnie has achieved, you know, with particular women, and Liz Fairley being one of them. A lot of blokes would love to be Warnie, and that's frightening.
He is the man that Australians have voted the one that they would most like to be like.
Yeah. He's not pretending to be someone
your
he's not.
Kath?
Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing, but
Is that why you married a Kiwi?
He's actually from Adelaide, Murray.
Oh, is he?
Okay.
Miles has misunderstood me a little bit there. What I'm not saying is that you try to create the characters. Let the characters create themselves by being themselves, and I think you run into less issues. I think Tiger Woods is a confused person, and that's led to that. As for Warnie, never liked Warnie myself, and this just rubs it in further. What's going on now? Oh, no, it makes me... It's you know, here he is.
Well, what about this scene here, and you're talking about how he established himself and everybody thought he was squeaky clean, and apparently he wasn't the whole way through, and this was the scene in the Dubai Classic where he hoiks on the side. Unbelievable that he did it so close to the pin where everybody else has got to roll their putt through it, and there's his apology, and he used Twitter to do that. I'm on Twitter now, folks. The Euro Tour is right. It was inconsiderate to split like that, and I know better. Just wasn't thinking, and I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sick of him saying he's sorry, mate.
Yeah, I mean, spitting, you know...
Yeah, but I'm sick of him saying he's sorry.
Spit, do they? But
when they're running, they do.
That was a deliberate, contemptuous, disdainful act from an arrogant individual. He was thinking about himself and the fact that he wasn't playing very well. Murray, you're a golfer. Have you ever even dreamed of spitting on a green?
No.
You wouldn't even dream of it.
That's a damn good question. Huh? There are times when I've thought of doing a lot of other things on a green, but no, I haven't.
See, I look deeper at that and think this is an individual whose life has spiralled out of control. His game's not going the way he would like it to, and it was someone who did that in the act of frustration, and when he did it, he would have thought, what have I just done?
So your expectations of him, and we've got public expectations, you're terribly disappointed by him. You are. You're the golfer, mate.
He's exposed himself as a self-centred individual, but then can you blame him? Because I think as he grew up, everything was about Tiger Woods. Finally, that just hasn't sat well with him, and he's capitulated and everything's caved in. What's annoyed me more than the spitting? It's the club throwing. That's the biggest no-no in golf. And he throws his club regularly. And finally, the European Tour have made a gesture there. It's about time the US Tour, who I think is still scared of Tiger, actually get in and get him for club throwing.
A gesture. How much was the fine? They paid him $3.7 million to go there, and they fined him about $500.
Yeah, but it's a gesture of saying Tiger not good enough. No one ever says that.